Hi, hello. My name is EJ, and I am back again with another narrated art time-lapse video for us to take a look at, view, review, hopefully learn a thing or two from. I did mention in the last video that I was not going to do this video format at all anymore, but hi, hello, I'm here again with another narrated art time-lapse in this video format. I typically don't record myself doing this. I typically just do audio narration. But I'm experimenting, so yeah, I'm watching the video time lapse of this particular artwork that I did last year, and so yeah, let's just get started on the narration part. Let me talk about the process, because a minute has gone past by already, and there are quite a few things that have started, obviously. So this one is a 2D illustration that started out as 3D. Basically, the 3D part just basically helps me with laying out the scene. This scene is very, very heavy with architectural stuff, and this is where 3D shines the most. If you have like architectural sort of illustration that you needed to do, doing this in 3D first helps you lay out things easier, faster. You could lay out all the perspective issues and figure out all the perspective issues quite easily doing it this way. This is part of the reason why I did this in 3D. Part of the reason why I did this in 3D too at first is simply because of the stairs. The stairs has a sculptural element to it, a very Baroque element to it that would be very, very hard to freehand sketch. Well, it wouldn't necessarily be that difficult, but laying out the perspective and having all the perspective be correct while at the same time maintaining like that Baroque format looking, it was going to be tough. Is basically what I'm trying to get at. And so that's the reason why I decided to do this in 3D, because it was going to be a lot easier for me. So talking about the 3D and what has transpired, first of all, I set up my character. My character was pretty easy to set up. It was just a standing female. So that is set and done and easy. The stairs is a little bit tricky. There's this really, really nice technique in how to do stairs, especially spiral stairs. You basically parent like a piece of mesh that you have, right? You parent it to an empty, and then you basically do all your manipulation and all your arrays. You have all your arrays set to be constrained by the empty, so that when you move the empty and when you manipulate the empty, it does all the manipulation for you. So in this case, I basically had the meshes, which is like the floorboard of the stairs, and then the banister part, or like the railing part. I have them parented to the empty, and then constrained with the empty, and then I move the empty slightly up, of course, to make all the array go up, and then rotated it slightly so that the stairs would rotate. Basically, it's a nice little trick to get things started, basically. And then the rest of the manipulation that I did are all pretty much just brute force. You saw me do like the actual railing of the actual stairs. That was just pretty much a straight up brute force, where I just copied where I wanted the railing to be instead of parenting it to the empty and manipulating it that way. So that was brute force. For this one, I'm trying to lay out like the marble pattern. That's what that floor thing was. Ironically enough, the floor was or the camera was so low on the ground, you couldn't really see all the details on the marble flooring, that I felt like I could have just free-handed that one instead of laying it out on the mesh like I did in this particular project. Like I think this was overkill on the floor. And then of course I was doing the hat, because I needed the hat, because that was part of the prompt for this challenge, which I'm going to talk about the challenge in just about a sec. Sorry again, my point of view of attention is down below right here, because that's where the video is playing, and of course the camera's up there. But yeah, I'm watching the video play out, and of course these are the columns at the very, very back. Oh man, I love this scene. I'm going to explain this in a second, where this idea came from. So yeah, I am going to talk about that in a second, but I love that scene. So the 3D scene is almost done. It's almost set. I'm setting up the camera, getting my final render, and then as soon as the render is done, I remember moving the columns a lot because I couldn't get the proper placement on it. Like, I remember manipulating it so much, and I even did that. I forgot I did that. I changed the orientation in the columns because I wasn't getting it the way I wanted it. So yeah. And then I changed the colors on the lady because I needed some parts of her to indicate where the dress was going to be. And it moved her face and all that great stuff. And then why am I I wanted... Okay, I was trying to figure out why I was messing with the eyes. And then here we go with the very, very simple lighting. I just wanted simple lighting on this one. I don't even think I turned on environment lighting on this one. I don't think. See, you can see the floor right now. The floor's details is so vague on there that it was kind of pointless for me to go all out on the modeling of the floor. It was overkill. So yeah. But now I'm on Krita. So on Krita, I imported the rendered image, and I am doing my quick sketch, kind of laying out where things are going to be. So obviously I already had the design in my mind for the stairs. You can see all this added flourishes that I put on the stairs. And then of course I did a quick sketch and whatnot, kind of lay things out. And then after this quick sketch, wait, what? I forgot I did this. Are you serious? I did this too? OMG, dude, that cracked me up. Man, I feel the floor was just so overdone in this one. That's a lot of detailing that I did on that floor. Wow, that was overkill. I remember why I did that now. The 3D was so vague that I decided that I was just going to hand sketch where everything was going to be, and that's the reason why I did what I did, where I sketched it out in the middle with symmetry on in Krita, and then I laid it out on the floor, and then hopefully that would give me a good indication where things are, it's a lot better looking at it now. Okay, so yeah, I remember thinking that the 3D part was just so overdone. It was just so overblown procedure. It felt unnecessary, but now that sketch was a lot better. So anyways, so I did the quick sketch. After the quick sketch, just to kind of lay things out, I am now doing my clean line sketch, which I absolutely love. I am really surprised that I did not do a quick sketch on all the Baroque elements on the stairs. I typically would have done that. I don't know why I didn't. But I guess the 3D render was just so super confusing for me that I wanted to... Okay, I'm trying to remember my train of thought, because bear in mind this particular illustration was done a year ago. And I'm beginning to think that my line of thought was it was better for me to draw all the railings first, right? Because that right side, all the elements on the right side was very, very clear. It's the one on the left side that I remember having an issue with. Okay, that's what it was. So I think from what I remember, I wanted to lay out all the major elements first, sketch out the major elements first, then sketch out the one on the right, And bear in mind this image is flipped. So what I'm actually referring to is the one that would have been on the left side. Okay, this is strange. I actually started out with the left side instead of the right side. Wow, okay, that's interesting. Man, I'm trying to remember all my line of thought for this one. Now I could not. Let me remember what my line of thought was. I will admit this. So, but that was a really good render on my part, though. I remember being confused on that part. I remember that part, like the right part felt very, very confusing because everything was so compressed. I remember that now. This part right here that I'm drawing was a lot easier for me to take a look at because everything was just so spaced out. So I knew that doing the details in that part was going to be a lot easier than the one on the right. But I'm really surprised that I started out with the complicated one. Like, I don't know why I started out with that complicated one. That part was complicated. I think Messy Edge Kushiyara has something to do with that. Because he always recommends starting out with the more difficult part of your illustration rather than the easy part. So maybe that's why I started with that part. I don't remember because this was about a year ago. So, but man, I love those Baroque elements. This is the reason why I did 3D, because I knew that was going to be very, very hard. And plus, all those elements at the very, very back too was going to be just very hard to draw out. So yeah, this is fun for me, by the way, because I quickly edited the videos and did not like fully look at it, and now I'm fully looking at it and making my commentaries the same time you guys are watching it. So it's kind of fun for me because it feels refreshing to be like remembering what was I thinking again when I was doing that. So this was pretty cool. But anyways, after this quick line sketch, I'm gonna quickly lay down colors. The way I do my colors is super messy. I like it that way. I just basically quickly color it, put some colors down, and then the most important part of the coloring phase, is the quick coloring phase, is trying to figure out where the shadows are. So I would go back on my scene, do a multiply layer, sometimes a multiply brush, depending on the situation, kind of just accentuate all the shadows, and then I add a little highlight color dodge to indicate where the light areas are. I basically like treat the scene like a chiaroscuro scene, where where everything's kind of mainly dark with a few highlighted areas. And then as soon as I do my coloring phase, I apologize, let me backtrack. Before I did my coloring phase, I did my flats first. I wanted all these flats so I could quickly select items, right? So all of the things that I just did is basically just me being able to quickly select parts of the illustration that I wanted to work on. That's the reason why I laid out these flats. But here's the quick coloring that I'm talking about. This goes by real fast, real quick, super messy. I'm normally messier than this one. This one I'm actually going pretty careful on this one. That's fun to watch. I'm being super careful with my coloring phase. Okay, and then I'm bringing back the... Oh, I also use the render too as part of the thing. So, but anyways, after I am done with all my color adjustments and my quick coloring, I do this thing that I'm doing right now, where basically I smudge the whole scene out just so that I could get this painterly effect. You could probably run a filter, or people could run a filter on it and get that same painterly look a lot quicker, but I like a little bit more control on my part, and that's the reason why I do this by hand. So I smudge everything down until I get this base painting that I like working on. And then as soon as I get that base painting, or that base layer where I'm going to put everything on, I slowly start doing my painting. I basically start detailing. And the detailing phase is pretty much a rinse repeat process. It's basically me accentuating the shadows, basically sharpening the edges and whatnot, and then adding highlights. And I do this on parts of the image, portion by portion, until I'm done. So yeah, So basically, I enhance the shadows, sharpen my edges, and then delineate my edges, and then add highlights and whatnot. So, anyways, this was gonna happen after this smudging part is me detailing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little break, drink my coffee, drink my water because I'm really, really parched right now. And I'm just gonna let you guys enjoy the show for now while I do my detailing. I'm gonna come back later on, talk to you about my ideas and my critique of the piece and what this piece is all about, basically, and whatnot. Because we just talk about the process. So yeah, enjoy the show for now. All right, I am back, and I had fun watching that. I absolutely love detailing all the architectural and interior design elements of this particular piece. Man, doing the detailing on this was fun. I remember getting to the stairs. At first, everything was super confusing, right? Like, I remember stressing a little bit because everything was slightly confusing and where all the detailed elements was going to be. And there were so many details, especially with the stairs in itself, that it was just like so much information. It was like even the line drawing was felt like an overkill. Like, there was just too many things to look at. So it was really hard at first. I remember thinking it was really hard at first figuring out where things are, but the moment I put down the colors and the moment I started detailing, things started falling into place. When I was watching it and I was doing the carpet on the stairs, the moment I started doing the carpet on the stairs, I was just like, wow, that is it. That is awesome. And I remember thinking that it was coming along really, really nicely, that I was just like, I was really, really liking the piece. And whatnot. And before I go on about my feelings about the piece, let me tell you real quick where the idea came from. So it was a prompt. This is a challenge entry, or an entry that I did for a Krita artist challenge. The challenge was big hat. I didn't do a big hat, so I failed the prompt for sure. What happened originally was that I already had this project in mind because the scene is from another challenge, another prompt. It was a daily spit paint prompt. I forgot what that prompt was because that particular illustration was done maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, a really long time ago. And I remember looking at that sketch thinking I really want to redo that sketch because it's such an awesome piece. And then when I started redoing it, that's when the new prompt for the monthly challenge in Krita Artist came out, and I was like, hey, why not combine it? So I combined the two prompts, but I didn't do the big hat because I didn't feel like doing the big hat. So yeah, I just did a simple hat. So yay, yeah, but so that's where the idea came from. It's a combination of two different prompts. Now let me talk to you about my feelings about the piece. It was a challenge because there's a lot of architectural and interior design elements. So it was a challenge, but I love it. It is awesome. I think I did a great job doing it. Where everything fell apart for me, right? Like, I love the piece. I love the environment. I thought the environment's awesome and whatnot. But how I drew the female is what killed it for me. The face is basically what, like, every time I look at this illustration, right, I would like it and then I would not like it because I would look at the character and I would look at the character's face and I'm just like, man, I wish I could nail it. Like, to this day, I still don't know what the right balance is. Basically, so the situation is that, the hat is covering her face, so her face is in shadow. So her face is mainly lit from bounce light, which bounce light is coming from, from down below. And so that's the way I drew her because that's the way it would have been in real life anyways. The problem is bounce light is typically not as strong as a regular light. So for example, if a regular light is hitting your shoulder should be brighter than the bounce light on this area right here, right? And I can't get the balance right. I mean, I started working on her face, right? And as you can see, like, the shoulder and the chest area is brighter than her chin area under part right here, right? Which that's the way it should be because that's how the lighting would be in real life. But for some odd reason, it does not look right. Like, the balance does not look right. And to this day, I still don't have the right balance. Whenever I look at this piece, I'm just like, I get drawn to the face immediately because that's where the eyes gets drawn immediately, right? It's straight to the face. And the face just does not look good to me. And that's when I'm like, the piece is okay. So I kind of feel bad because all the hard work that I did and all the architectural and interior design elements is ruined by this one tiny part on the illustration, which is the face, because I can't get that balance right. And yeah, every time I look at this piece to this day, I'm still like, man, I don't like that face, and I wish I could do something about it, you know. But I've tried. Even after this, even after finishing the project, I've probably edited that face maybe twice or three times after, and I'm still not happy with the balance and the lighting on it. So, well, I'm kind of just letting it go. But overall, this piece is awesome. I love that background. I love that infinite looking background, right? Back rooms just came out. And so that's kind of like in my head now. So yeah, but that's the end of the illustration. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys learned a thing or two from it. Good night.